What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another.
Ask yourself, what are you doing now to help you improve in the future?
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the off season, the kind of series where I'm talking about things that I'm doing during my winter, not kayaking period, to be more ready and more capable when spring kayaking season rolls around. What I can do to take advantage of my downtime. So, what I wanted to talk to you about this week was reading more books. Now, again, this is going to be another one of those weeks where I'm like, this doesn't seem like it's related to kayaking. But it is. So, let me tell you how and why. I've never been a good reader. Like, a lot of my friends can read, a book every few weeks and gain all this knowledge, right? Like, whether they just read a nice new fiction story and they have that, fun experience, or whether they read a good non-fiction book and they're learning something. These are all, opportunities that I felt like I was missing out on for the longest time. Like, if I was on a kayaking trip and we had a lot of travel time, for sure I can read some books, don't get me wrong. But it kind of occurred to me that a lot of my friends who were big readers, it felt like they were starting to get ahead more quickly. And when I say get ahead, I kind of mean they had this extra knowledge, or they'd say something in conversation, I'd be like, wait, what? So they were reading more and more of these interesting, kind of sciencey, non-fiction books about a range of different topics that for the longest time I couldn't put the pieces together on why they were useful. But one of the kind of introductory ones for me was on mental training and kind of mental awareness and how your mind is coping in more stressful situations, right? Because this is a lot similar to what whitewater kayaking is. A lot of the time it's how your mind is able to process in those sensory overload situations where there's so much going on, but you need to stay calm and stay focused on what you're doing. And if you can stay calm and focused on what you're doing, it's easier to shrink your world back into just thinking about that. And this wasn't necessarily something I was struggling with, but for sure, in speaking with some of my other friends, it was obvious that they had thought about it a lot more than I had. And I felt like by not reading as much as these guys were, that there was an opportunity I was missing out on. And so in 2020, I read more books, both fiction and non-fiction, probably a mixture, more than I've ever read in any other year, maybe as many as some years combined. And like I said, wasn't a big reader, not that I can't read, but I had a tough time sitting down to finish a book. And so I had to build some habits, and what I wanted to tell you about is the best book I read in 2020, which is called Atomic Habits, and how I built a habit of reading every single day, which I'm still doing. So, Atomic Habits by James Clear, best book I read in 2020 by far. I gave it away as a Christmas gift a couple times this year. It's excellent. I cannot recommend it enough. It's a really interesting book about breaking bad habits and building good habits and things you can do to improve. The way I read it was by reading 10 minutes a day, every day. Now, it's not that hard to find 10 minutes in your day to just sit down and open a book and turn your phone off for 10 minutes and just be really, really focused. And over time, I was able to build that time up and up and up until I was doing, or right now I'm doing 30 minutes a day, which is still, that's not a ton of time. But sometimes, sitting down and concentrate on something for 30 minutes can actually be difficult and challenging. And so that's kind of where this book, Atomic Habits, comes in, because it kind of helps you set up ways where you can make yourself be more successful or stack the deck in your favor to be more successful with a bunch of different strategies and tactics, right? So one of the other ways I have used things out of this book is called environment design. So if I want to work out in the morning, now instead of I have to find my workout clothes and figure out what I'm going to do, the night before I'll just write down what my workout's going to be, and I'll put my workout clothes by my bedroom door so that I have to step over them to go out of the bedroom to go pee. So then when I come back in, I'm I'll just put these on now and my workout's already written down, so I'll just go do that. And so that's kind of an example of environment design. So changing your surroundings to make it more likely that you're going to succeed. For my reading habit, I was leaving my whatever book I was reading on my desk, so that when I sat down on my desk before I would open my computer and start doing whatever computer thing I was about to do, or let's be honest, like whatever YouTube video I was going to watch or whatever Netflix time siphon it was going to be, it was sitting there right in front of me in a position where I couldn't ignore it. And so I just like, okay, whatever, set timer, crank through my time on, whether that's 10 minutes, and like I said, gradually progressing. I put it in a position where it was difficult to ignore, and that kind of forced me into doing it more often. And after a while, you're just ingrained in that habit of like, before you do your computer work, you do your reading. And right now, actually, I do my reading right when I wake up in the morning. It's like the first 30 minutes of my day. Get up, go pee, sit down, read, 30 minutes, done. And it's really, really great. I really enjoy my reading time because it's like time when my brain's not thinking about other stuff. I don't check my phone before I read. I just like sit there and do my 30 minutes, and that's, you know, no excuses. It's just done in the mornings. And I've had a lot of good takeaway lessons on that like mental training part of kayaking, which is like, you know, another facet to this like whitewater puzzle that we're all living in, is like how you're using your brain to also not just control your boat, but like take in everything that's going on around you. So that was a really great book I read, Atomic Habits, about building good habits. A book I've mentioned on videos in the past, which is really great on what's happening in your brain, is called Rise of Superman, Decoding Ultimate Human Performance, I think. Excellent book. If you want to read one on mental training, that's really great. I read another good one called The Art of Mental Training, I think, by DC Gonzalez, which was great. So there's lots of good books out there in that mental training vein, and what you're going to find is the more you're reading and the more books you're getting through, the wider your interest in other things that are going to lead back into your kayaking are going to be. So just, you have to start really. Once you get started, it's easy to find other things that are going to kind of fit back into your kayaking game and help you grow your mind, which is going to help your kayaking grow. But it all starts with just picking it up and doing that first 10 minutes or 10 pages or whatever your goal is going to be, and then doing that every day. And you only have to do 10 minutes a day or 10 pages a day or however much you're doing, and you're going to get through some books pretty quickly. Because if you're doing, 30 minutes a day, say, versus doing 1 hour a week, if you're doing 30 minutes every day, that's like 3 hours a week. So by breaking it up into these like manageable chunks, you're easily going to get through it, rather than just like, oh, we're going to sit down and read for an hour on Sunday, and then maybe Sunday comes and something else is going on, and then you can't read, and then you're behind, and then that book just sits on your nightstand forever and ever and ever. So that's the tactic I use to read more and to learn more. And again, it seems like it's not really a kayaking thing, but there's lots of things about kayaking that are not necessarily just the kayaking part. And I think not enough people are really turned on to that idea, right? So the more we can turn on to, there's other things going on inside your brain, and if you're aware of them, you can be more in control of them, the better off we're all going to be as kayakers, and you can kind of start to think in broader terms, bigger picture. So that's all I've got for this week. Let me know what books you're reading this year, what the best book you read last year was, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.